Hey everybody, thanks for stopping by my channel. My name's Bobby and I am going to work on a bunny garland. This pattern comes from Yarnspirations and hopefully we'll be able to get through this. So for this pattern you need an I-9 hook, scissors, a needle, and several colors of worsted weight yarn to include white for the bunny's tails. You'll also need either a Pom Pom Maker or a two-pronged fork in order to make the pom-poms. I'm going to start with the magic loop. And this is literally just a slip knot that has not been closed. So then you're going to create a chain stitch and pull that tight. Now everything you work on the magic loop, you're going to work around both the loop and your tail so that when you pull it, it'll pull that tight. So you're going to start with 8 single crochets in your loop. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. That's my first round. 8 single crochets in the loop. And then you're supposed to join to the first stitch with a slip stitch. So I'm going to pull this tight and then slip stitch into the first stitch. This is the first stitch of the round. Right here. And that's, even though our slip stitch is in there, we're going to work in that first stitch. So on round 2, you're going to chain 1, and then you're going to do a puff stitch in that first stitch. So a puff stitch is a yarn over, push through, yarn over, pull through. We're going to do that 4 times. So yarn over, push through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, push through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, push through, yarn over, pull through, and now you'll have 9 loops on your stitch. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's your original working loop and the 8 that you just created. Then you're going to yarn over, you're going to pull through 8 of those loops, like so. And then you're going to yarn over and pull through 2. That is the puff stitch. Now you're going to chain 1. And in the next stitch, you're going to do another puff stitch. So it's yarn over, push through, yarn over, pull through, 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 and that should be 9 stitches on your, or 9 loops on your hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You're going to yarn over and pull through 8, and you're going to yarn over and pull through 2, and that's the second puff stitch. So now you have a puff stitch, a chain stitch, a puff stitch, a chain stitch. You're going to do this 8 times. So you'll have a total of 8 puff stitches and 8 chain spaces at the end of this round. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So you'll have a total of 16 stitches. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a chain. One, 2, 3, 4, and a chain stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4. Uh-oh. There we go. And chain stitch. I'm making sure I get all my stitches, so there's 1, 2 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and a chain stitch. This is my last puff stitch for this round. 3, 4, and then 1 chain stitch, and then you're going to slip stitch into the first stitch of that round. And in this case, if you look here, this was my slip stitch, this was my chain, this is my first puff stitch, the top of it, and that's where we're going to slip into. So you're going to go in here, you're going to yarn over and pull through both the puff stitch and your last chain. That's your slip stitch. That is the end of round 2, and this was the first puff stitch was right there. And you can put the stitch mark, keep that stitch marker in there if you want. I find that since I'm not working in a spiral and I'm closing each round off, I know exactly where I'm at. All right, so round 3, you're going to chain 1. You're going to work a puff stitch in the first stitch. 3, 4. So there's my puff stitch. And then I'm going to chain 1. And now you're going to work a puff stitch in the chain 1 space. Now, that space is right here. So you're going to yarn over. And now I'm going completely around this chain stitch. If you like, you can work in it, but I find that very difficult. I don't want to fight to get in there, so I'm working completely around the stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's my puff. And then I'm going to chain 1. Now, I want to make sure that this puff stitch is above that chain stitch so that I can get into the top of this puff stitch for the next stitch. So for each stitch of the previous row, you are going to do a puff stitch. And in between each puff stitch, you're going to do a chain 1. So I'm going to do this again around this chain stitch. And at the end of this round, you'll have 16 puff stitches and 16 chain 1s for a total of 32 stitches. Right, so now I've finished round 3, and I'm going to slip stitch to the top of the first puff stitch, which is right here. And that is round 3. You should have 16 puff stitches and 16 chain spaces. Round 4, you're going to chain 1, and you're going to single crochet in the same stitch, and you're going to do 2 single crochets in your chain space. 1, 2, and you're going to single crochet in the top of each puff stitch. So for each chain space, you're going to do 2 single crochets, and for each puff stitch, you're going to do 1 single crochet. And this is going to give us 48 stitches at the end of this round. Uh-oh. I'm going to put 2 single crochets in that puff stitch. 1, 2, 1. Right. And then we're going to slip stitch to the top of the first single crochet. And that is the end of round 4. There should be 48 stitches around your bunny. Now we begin working on the head. You're going to work in back and forth in rows. Row 1, you're going to chain 1, and you're going to single crochet in the same stitch. So in the same stitch that you just slip stitched in, so the first stitch of the round, and you're going to do 8 more single crochets. So a total of 9 single crochets. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then what we're going to do is we're going to turn your work, and you're going to chain 2, and that counts as your first half double crochet. Then you're going to yarn over, you're going to push through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, and pull through 3. That's a half double crochet. So that's my second half double crochet. You're going to have a total of 10 at the end of this. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So it's 10 half double crochet. All right. So at the end of row 2, you should have 10 half double crochets. Then you are going to chain 1, and you're going to do front post half double crochet. So you're going to yarn over. You're going to go around the post and do the half double crochet. I'm going to show you again. I'm going to pull this out so you can kind of see what I'm doing here. You're going to go not in the top of the stitch, not in this part of the stitch. You're going to go down below the stitch and do on the post itself. And you're going to do the half double crochet. So you're going to yarn over, go around that post, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 3. And that's what it looks like. And this is what it's going to look like on the other side. So and this is completely different than any other stitch you do where you're working in the top of the stitches. You're working below the stitches around this post here. And you are doing 10 of those. So it should look like that. And on the back side, it should look like this. Now we're gonna chain 1 and turn for row 4. We're going to skip this first stitch. So we're going to skip the first stitch and we're going to single crochet in the next 2 stitches. 1, 2, and then we're going to single crochet 2 together. So you're going to go through the stitch, yarn over, pull through. You're going to go through the next stitch, yarn over and pull through. And you're going to yarn over and pull through 3. And that brings those 2 stitches together. Then you're going to single crochet in 3 stitches. 1, up, went too low there. 2, 3, and then you're going to single crochet these last 2 together. So yarn over and pull through, go through the next stitch, yarn over and pull through those 3. That brings those 2 stitches together. So you should have 7 stitches at the end of this round. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now you're going to start working on the ears. And the first ear, you're going to chain 1, turn your work. You're going to skip the first stitch, and you're going to single crochet in the next 2 stitches. So 1, 2. Now you're on row 2. You're going to chain and turn. You're going to single crochet in this first stitch and 2 single crochets in the next stitch. So 1, 2, 3. And that gives you 3 stitches on row 2. Now row 3 through 6, you're going to chain 1 and you're going to single crochet 3 stitches. So 1, 2, 3. That's row 3. 1, 2, 3. That's row 4. 1, 2, 3. That's the end of row 5. 1, 2, 3. That's the end of row 6. So now we're on row 7, and row 7 is chain 1, turn, skip the first stitch. We're going to do 3 half double crochets in this stitch, and then we're going to slip stitch in this last stitch. So we're going to skip this stitch, and then we're going to do 3 half double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to do a slip stitch in that last one, and that gives you that nice rounded top to your ear. And then it says to fasten off. So I'm gonna yarn over and pull through, just like a chain stitch. Snip my yarn and pull that tight, and that's ear number 1. Now the second ear, we're gonna work across, just like we were working across. Now we're gonna start back down here. This is the end of the first ear. And this says skip the stitch next to the inner ear of the first ear. So we're going to skip this stitch and we're going to attach the yarn here. And all I'm going to do is make sure I got a tail. I'm going to yarn over and pull through, yarn over and make a chain stitch. And that attaches it to my work, if you can see that. And then it says slip stitch to the next stitch. So we're going to slip stitch. And now that's nice and locked into place. And now you're going to chain 1. You're going to single crochet in the same stitch that you slip stitched into and single crochet into the next stitch. That is 2 single crochets, and that's row 1 of the second ear. Row 2 is chain 1. Don't forget, I turned my bunny, but you can make sure you turn your bunny. And then you're going to do 2 single crochets in the first stitch. And you're going to do 1 single crochet in the next stitch. So now we have 3 single crochets. 1, 2, 3. And row 3, I'm going to chain 1, turn my work, and single crochet in each stitch across. So 3. So this is row 3. 3 single crochets. Chain and turn, row 4, 3 single crochets. Wait a minute. Did 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is row 5, 3 single crochets. Row 6, 3 single crochets. And now it should be all but 1 stitch the same height as the other one, just in case. I'm going to look at it real quick and make sure. And it sure is. See, that's all I have left is my. So I'm going to chain 1 and do row 7, which is the 3 half double crochets in the center. And then we're going to slip stitch to this stitch. And that is the end of the second ear. I'm going to do a chain stitch. And that chain stitch is just to lock it into place. Go ahead and clip your yarn, pull it through, and that gives you 2 ears now. Now we're on to finishing with the right side facing up. just this side. Right side facing up. You're going to attach the yarn with a slip stitch to the back loop of the first stitch where the body and head meet. Basically, where the head and the body meet right here, we're going to slip stitch that yarn right on there, just like that. And now, make sure you don't lose your tail there. Now, you are going to slip stitch in the back loops of each body stitch around. Slip stitch in the row ends and stitches around the head and ears, and join the last slip stitch to the first slip stitch. So, we're already connected. Now we're going to go around the bunny, and we're working in the back loop only, right here. And you're just going to slip stitch all the way around your bunny. So, way around. Doing the whole body first. Okay, so now I'm towards the end of the body, and you have to make sure that you get all your stitches going up the sides here as well. So, I'll do this last stitch on the body. Now, this is row 1. So I'm gonna slip stitch there. Row 2. And I'm gonna put 2 chain stitches or 2 slip stitches in row 2 because half double crochet takes up 1.5 stitches. So the next row, I'm going to do 1. If I don't give myself a couple extra stitches in there, it's going to get tight and it's going to pinch. So I'm giving myself a couple extra stitches while I'm working around this. All right. Now I'm at the ear, and I'm working just on the sides here. That was my 7 rows. So I have 7 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, I have extra. No, I don't. That's in this hole here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now I have 3 stitches across the top of the ear. So I'm going to go and work my 3 slip stitches in one in each of those. And now I'm pulling this knit back away so that it's out of my way so I can see. And I'm going to make sure that I get 7 stitches going back down the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Same on this other ear. Make sure you get all 7 rows going up and all 7 rows going down and the 3 on the top. So, split my yarn somewhere in there. Right? Back down to the head here. Sometimes it's hard to know where to go with the hook. And then now we're back around and I'm going to slip stitch just like that. And I'm going to cut it off. But if you notice, I'm not doing the chain 1 to put a knot in there because I'm going to do a seamless join. So this way you don't see that knot. I'm going to, this is where we came out of. This is our last stitch, our slip stitch. We're going to pick up not the stitch that we're in, but the next stitch. We're going to put the yarn through like that. And then we're going to go back in this stitch that we're coming out of. So that way it looks like a stitch and gives you a seamless join. And then you're just gonna work that into you're going to weave it into your project so that it disappears. And I always recommend going in at least 2 directions with your weave so that it doesn't just slide right out. That one's done. Snip that one off. Now you have to go through and you got to make sure you put in all of these ends. The first one I'm going to start with is the magic ring, and I'm going to pull it nice and tight because I want to make sure that it's nice and tight. And then I'm going to weave it in. Snip that off. That way I know it's already done. Put the next one. It doesn't matter what order you put these in, just as long as you weave them all in to your bunny so that they're not visible. This one is coming from there. I'm gonna bring it just like this to lock it in. One way. The second way. Ah, right. Almost done. So that is the finished bunny for the bunny garland. The next thing to do, okay, now that we've created our bunny, we need to make a pom-pom. You can either use a Pom Pom Maker or you can cheat and use a meat fork from your kitchen. I'm going to show you both ways to do this. So you're going to start with your white yarn. If I can find my white yarn, we'll be in good shape. All right, there it is. And to make it look consistent, you want to make sure to use the same number of wraps for each pom-pom. I'm going to do 35 wraps around the fork. So you're going to hold the yarn in place. 2, 3, oops, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 6, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. Then you want to cut off your yarn. And then you're going to use about a 10-inch string, and you're going to wrap that through the fork like this, around your yarn. You're going to cinch that down nice and tight. Tie it in a square knot, or any type of knot, really. I didn't really get it very tight, so I'm going to retie it. The other side, I'm going to bring it around, and I'm going to retie it just to make sure I got it nice and cinched down. So, and then what you're going to do is you're going to cut your pom-pom right off of the fork, just like this. Fluff it. And I like to go through and make sure that any stragglers are trimmed off. And that gives you your pom-pom. So, that's how you make it with a fork. Pom Pom Maker is much different. You're going to lift these pieces out, and you're going to wrap around this rainbow here. So, oops. One, 32, 33, 34, 35. All right. And you're going to close that up on this side. And you're going to open this side up. And you're going to do the same thing. 35 wraps. Oops. Okay, and you're going to close this side up. Now, it's all closed up. What you're going to do is you're going to slice this just like this. Same on this side. You're going to slice it just like this. And you're going to take your yarn, a 10-inch yarn, you're going to run right inside here just like this. I'm going to tie it. Same thing. You're going to tie it right over left, left over right. Makes the knot neat, tidy, and tight. If I can get it on there right, let's go right there. So, I'll cinch it down in there. So that's my square knot. then we should be able to open it up. And these things slide apart. And there is your bunny tail. Okay, you want to go through and you want to snip any loose ends. And that's the two different ways to do a pom-pom. All right, so now that we have the pom-pom, we're going to attach it to the bottom portion of the body between rounds 2 and 3, not securely, and trim excess yarn from ties. So this is the back side. This is the front side. We're going to take our yarn. This was row 1. No. Row 1, row 2, and row 3. So we're going to put it between row 2 and row 3. And I'm going to tie it right here. It's right around the top of row 3. That's where I'm going to tie mine. So I'm going to go in here like this and pull it through. I'm going to go in here like this and pull it through. That will bring it right there. I'm going to flip my bunny over and I'm going to tie a square knot again. So right over left, left over right. Make sure not neat, tidy, and tight. And just for good measure, I'm going to take this and I'm going to hide a little bit of my yarn, my white yarn, into my bunny before I cut it off. So go like this. Just a little bit. Not a lot, just enough to put it in there. And then I'm going to snip it. And that's going to hide right in there. And that's my completed bunny. So now that we have all of our bunnies done, I've done 4. You're going to chain 20 with your white yarn. So you're going to make a slip knot. And you're going to chain 20. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And then you're going to attach a bunny ear using a slip stitch, the topmost stitch of the first ear. So you're going to pick up the top stitch here on the top of the ear, and you're just going to slip stitch it in. So you're going to yarn over and pull through the bunny ear and the loop on the hook, and then you're going to chain 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you're going to do the same thing at the top of this bunny ear. That'll hold the money together. And then you're going to 3, 4, chain 10, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and attach your next bunny. And you'll continue this until you've attached all your bunnies to your garland that you have decided that you wanted to have. And you can change the placement of your bunnies along the chain. Like if you wanted them further apart, you could easily just do more chains between, but make sure that you do 5 chains between the top 2 ears, so that way that's always going to be consistent. And make sure you chain the same number of chains between one bunny and the next. You can make it as wide as you want or as skinny as you want between the bunnies, but make sure that you do it consistently so that it has a similar look across the entire garland. And there we go. 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8, 10. Split the yard. 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, which gives me the same as what I have on the other end. I'll go ahead and cut that, pull it through, and then to create my loop, because that's 20 and there'll be 10 between, so that's the same distance there. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tie it off right here. Make sure that's nice and pulled down on there. Pull this tight. And I'm going to make one more knot to make sure it holds well. That gives me a loop to hang from. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, where I started the beginning, the first chain 20. I'll bring it in here. through. I'm going to create a knot with it. There it goes. Figure out why I couldn't get there. I want to make sure that I get that nice and tight on there, like that. And I'm going to create one more knot on there to make sure that it doesn't come loose. It's nice and sturdy. Or maybe not. May not have left myself enough here. Oh. Pull it into a knot. And then you can weave your ends into your chain, or you can just snip them off. I'm going to weave mine into my chain because I like to make sure that I leave some yarn in case it comes undone. Snip it off. So we'll have strings hanging. And there you go. Same on this side. Feed that into my chain. Snip it off. And there you go. And that is the completed bunny garland. Let's zoom up here. And there you go. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, go ahead and post them down on the bottom. If you like the video, go ahead and subscribe. I try and post a video at least once every 2 weeks. Thanks so much and have a great day.